You are watching HuffPost Live. I'm Willow Bay. Welcome to the first ever HuffPost Live broadcast to be live streamed across all our international editions. We're joined here today in our Los Angeles studio by a very special guest, an inspiration to millions, the spiritual leader of the Tibetan people, His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama. Your Holiness, welcome. Thank you very much for making time on what I know is a busy, busy trip to the United States to join us here in Los Angeles and to speak to us live across the world. Much appreciated. 2-week trip, very productive, began in Washington. You tweeted out a picture of your visit with President Obama. As you well know, he lives in a place sorely lacking in harmony. Did you give him any advice?
No need any advice.
He didn't need any advice. Did he ask for any?
Of course, since he was senator, so we already know. Then he became president. Of course, I met. This, I think, third time. So I think we both feel something like reunion. I always look human level. The different positions of these are secondary level. So when I met this time now, I express on a human level we are friends since many years, and I feel very, very happy. Some kind of reunion, and then. I also express, you see, as a long-time friend. The recent years, a little bit sort of complicated situation, domestic as well as international level. So simply, I just express this my sort of warm feeling like that. And then of course he inquired about the situation of Tibet, inside Tibet. Then meantime, as a long-time friend, I sort of, almost like I reported my sort of commitment. Number one, as a human being, one of the 7 billion human beings, I believe we are part of the 7 billion. So our future individuals, happy life, very much deals with the rest of the humanity. So from your own sort of selfish interest, selfish view, you have to take seriously about the well-being of 7 billion human beings, including environment. So that's my number one commitment, is to promote human values. We too much, I think, materialistic sort of thinking. We are, or I think, our sort of I think too much sort of hope. You gain sort of happy life with material value. That is a mistake. After all, we are human beings. We have this emotion, mind. So we must pay some attention about our inner value. Money alone or material facility alone will not provide you meaningful life or happy life. So my number one commitment is a promotion of human value. Then second, promotion of religious harmony. Then regarding Tibet, I already now completely retired from political responsibility. Now since 2011, now I completely retired. Not only myself retired, but also almost 4-century-old tradition. Dalai Lama institution automatically become head of the both temporal and spirituality. Now that ended. So now my commitment is preservation of Tibetan culture, Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which is now I found it is a very, very rich Buddhist tradition. So it is not only interest for Tibetan people, but also is interest for many people, particularly Chinese brothers, sisters. There are many Buddhists. So this I mentioned like that. So it's a very happy meeting.
Happy meeting? Good. You mentioned human values. One of the things that's very important to Arianna Huffington, which is a key initiative here over the past year, is something she calls third metric, which is defining success beyond money and power, which are the traditional ways in the West that we define success. I wonder how you would suggest we define success. I would imagine it's rather different than that.
Success, I think basically a happy society, happy individual. If you create more happier society, happier individual, happier family, that's the real meaning of success. Not number of dollar, 1 billion or trillion. That's not necessarily a success. So we may not account money, number of money. Is there something, the measure of success? I don't think. I met some American and also some other sort of people, very, very rich, but as a human being, very unhappy one. So not success.
Not success. You spoke on a panel at a conservative think tank, the American Enterprise Institute, and during the panel conversation, you said that you had developed more respect for capitalism, that you were beginning to change the way you think about capitalism. Could you tell me a little bit about that? What is causing you to change your view?
Half joke.
Half joke?
Half maybe serious. So usually I got the impression Marxist economy very much concerned about equal distribution.
And you define yourself as a Marxist?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as socio-economy theory is concerned, I am Marxist. This is not me alone. Number of Buddhist monks from Sri Lanka and also in India, their socio-economy theory is concerned, they are Marxist. So we are same category. So we always telling, we always thinking the well-being of the entire sentient being, and particularly humanity, and particularly those less privileged sort of people. So you see that concept, equal distribution, is good. And after all, the Marxism start at that time in Europe. You see, begin also the Industrial Revolution. So a lot of sort of exploitation. The worker exploit their right or their sort of, their life. So whereas capitalism mainly is thinking about profit or money. So I have sort of more sort of attraction about the concept of equal distribution. So then the recent our meeting, you see, they explain the more holistic about capitalism. And particularly that meeting, you see, they also, you see, very much sort of emphasis about rule of compassion, these things. So I respond, now my respect about capitalism little increase.
Little increase. We'll take a little increase.
And then I mentioned this is some my friend used to say, that organization is rightist.
Yes.
So some people from leftist, they say, little bit complain. Then I feel the rightist also, you see, doing something for the society. Firstly, through individual. Then individual, utilize individual creativity fully. Then, you see, economy, you see, grow. That automatically some benefit to the community. Now, motivation is something very, very important. I always critically view some individual, a lot of money, then you see they simply use that money for their luxurious sort of life. And that is not very good. With that money, you see, must spend education or health in those poorer section of people. That's the proper way. So at that time...
Were they receptive to that message, your message of a proper way?
I don't know whether they, you see, deep inside they accept or not. You see, apparently, everybody, you see, shows very sort of, a very positive sort of atmosphere. So the leftists also is supposed to see serving community. So same aim, no problem. So I feel it is very, very useful. The people who have different views come together, discuss, and how to make sort of best use for the well-being of society or community. So I really is happy to participate with the rightist sort of groups in discussion. So like that. And then I think right from the beginning I suggested some scientists should invite. So they invited. So actually the Mind Life institution since I think almost now 30 years. So they invited. So they also explain something about the human brain on these things. Wonderful.
So this is very much part
of... So any work, I think, should be more holistic. That's very, very important.
Much of the conversation now is about the science of training the mind, of mindfulness and how important it is. Time magazine called it the mindful revolution. I wonder what you think about this being very much front and center in our conversation. Is mindfulness just having a moment as a trend, or is there a fundamental shift going on in our changing attitudes and awareness?
What do you mean?
Is this a shift in our culture in the way we are thinking about mindfulness, in the science of meditation and training the mind? Is it a profound shift or just a trend of the moment?
I think my view is I think over 1,000 years, you see, people, whenever they find some difficulties, they always pray. And the old major tradition carry same message of love, forgiveness, tolerance. You see, this practice. In spite of different philosophical views, all have same message, same potential. That 1,000 years, you see, the people, you see, totally sort of relying on that kind of thing. Then eventually, science, technology developed. Last, I think, 200 to 300 years. So that give us excitement. There's certain things we are hoping to materialize through prayer, not very successful, but technology really bring these sort of things. So therefore, last, I think up to the late part of 20th century, I think people are very much concerned about material value. Now, the people who have all the facilities, through their own experience, now they begin to feel limitation about material value. And people who have a lot of money, but not necessarily happy and deep inside lonely feeling. So then people, you see, begin to look what is lacking. So then, you see, showing interest about our inner value. Although we, it's a biologically, human affection, biologically there. We come from our mother. We tremendous sort of received affection from parent, particularly from mother. So in our blood, the seed of compassion, sense of concern of others' well-being is there. We simply neglect or take for granted these things. Now, you see, people, through their own experience, now showing more interest about this value. Then I always is telling the sense of sort of compassion, love. There are two levels. One, biological factor. One, through training, through reasoning. So biological factor, some kind of sense of closeness feeling, sense of sort of concern. Is no need training. Now we need some training or reasoning. These values are something very relevant in whole our life. The whole family or society need that. Completely materialistic sort of way of life is something dry. So therefore, now some new, I think, trend. Then, other hand, scientists, the medical scientists, they realize for preventive measure or for recover the mind or consciousness or emotion is very, very important factor. And then for good health, also, you see, the calm mind is very, very important factor. Some scientists say the constant fear, constant anger or hatred actually eating our immune system. So more warm-heartedness automatically bring calm mind. Calm mind brings inner strength, self-confidence. So that's very important for good health, for health. Therefore, usually we call healthy mind is very important factor for healthy body. So that's one thing. Then brain specialists, you see, their sort of research work really now highly developed. So now, you see, they investigate, their sort of the investigation. Now they begin feel, through training or certain sort of they use a certain way of thinking, actually affect our brain. So therefore, now some brain specialists now they begin to open their mind. Beside the brain, there may be some energy, something
else happening. I have to ask you, your trip here is getting a lot of attention. It's getting about as much attention as something else very big that's happening this week here in Los Angeles, which is the Academy Awards. Do you know about the Academy Awards? It's how Hollywood celebrates itself.
Oh, I see.
And I'm wondering, you seem to stay so relevant. Do you watch Hollywood movies? Never.
Not never. In early period, yes, I watch. Well, now last, I think over 20 years. Not much.
Not much.
Only I listen. BBC, radio. That's my informer.
That's your informer, the BBC. Well, we hope the Huffington Post will become your informer.
Sometimes
CNN. We'll take it.
CNN also.
CNN or Huffington Post. We think that's a really good plan.
But otherwise, you see, and part of sort of protection my eye, looking television, like that, I think very bad for my eye.
Very bad for your eyes. Okay, well.
And also it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time? Oh, Hollywood would hate to hear you say that about the movie business. What about technology? I mean, we know that you have 8 million Twitter followers. You don't do the tweeting, correct? You're not tweeting yourself. You don't have you didn't come in with a smartphone. We didn't have to ask you to turn your smartphone off. No smartphone.
I do not know, you see, how to treat these things.
So what?
Oh, I have one story.
Okay.
One occasion, they were called mobile phone or something. What called mobile phone, isn't it?
Yes.
So I received one message. from America while I was in India. So my secretary, you see, brought that phone and handed me. Then I listen. Then when I answer, I put this way. So then my secretary laughing, smiling, not necessarily you can talk, you can answer that way.
So now you're a pro. Now you're a pro with the cell phone. We can get you a mobile and you can...
I do not use these things.
No. What is the value of technology?
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think technology really increased human ability, brought a lot of things much easier. Wonderful. But technology cannot produce compassion.
Technology cannot
happiness.
Sorry.
I think technology is much depend how to use technology. And after all, we are the controller of the technology. If we become slave of technology, then not good.
Absolutely right. So we have about a minute or two left. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, you gave a talk about how to achieve happiness. Everybody was talking about it, and they all say, well, what did His Holiness say? So with a very brief moment or two left, what is the one thing that we can take away from this conversation that we can do in our own lives to help get us on a path to achieving happiness?
I have two things.
Two things. Good. Bonus.
One, warm-heartedness. That brings inner strength, more self-confidence. That reduces fear. That reduces, suspicion, these things. So we need friendship. Friendship entirely based on trust. So that's one thing. Then, in order to pay more attention to these things, you must use our intelligence. So in order to know the reality, more holistic way, look. So combination, warm-heartedness here, and sharp intelligence, research or analyze, combine these two things, then your life become more healthier, more wiser.
Your Holiness, thank you so much for spending time with us today. We so appreciate it. We hope you'll come back, and we hope maybe you'll even check out the Huffington Post from time to time as your news source.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you, sir. HuffPost Live will continue in just a moment. Thank you.